Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really focusing on something fascinating, personal transformation, through what our sources call a magnetic self-concept.
Mm. Yeah, our mission here is to unpack how this works. We're looking at material claiming that how you genuinely feel about yourself directly shapes your reality, even, how others see and treat you. Basically, how to redesign your life from the inside out.
It's a big undertaking, definitely.
Yeah.
But the core idea is pretty straightforward. Self-concept is just, well, it's your own view of who you are, your beliefs, but also those deep, sometimes subconscious feelings about yourself. And right away, the sources bring in this dual approach. It mixes like practical psychology with these, let's say, more spiritual or energetic ideas.
Okay.
And the foundation they lay out is this principle: the world reflects you. So if deep down you feel, say, unworthy of loyalty, then your external world, especially the people in it, will mirror that back. They'll perceive you that way.
So your self-concept literally sets the stage for how things play out.
That's the claim. It becomes the primary determinant. All right, let's get into how you actually change that, because the starting point isn't affirmations, right?
Yeah.
It's more like diagnosis.
Exactly. Finding the script that's running your life right now.
So the first step is this intense self-reflection. The sources talk about journaling, really writing out fears, who you think you are, and critically, why.
Yeah.
Where did that belief come from?
Yeah.
You have to get, like, forensic about it. It's not enough to say, I feel unlovable. You need to trace it. They use an example like, I feel unlovable because my mother wasn't really there for me emotionally, and my father rejected me. You need that origin story.
Right. Until you really articulate that root, that wound, the old script just keeps playing on a loop in the background. It's subconscious.
Okay, so diagnose first. Then what?
Then comes the conscious choice. Picking a new identity. This is where it gets radical.
Pivot, yeah.
A complete 180. So if the old script is I always get cheated on, the new one has to be the total opposite. I am always chosen. I attract secure, loyal partners. Something completely different.
Choosing the words sounds, well, easier than actually believing them, especially if there's trauma involved.
That's the huge challenge. Because that old identity isn't just a thought. It's often stored in the body, in the nervous system. It's physiological.
Oh.
So the sources really emphasize body-based work for release. Things like somatic therapy, working with physical sensations, or EFT tapping, the emotional freedom technique, using acupressure points.
Right, I've heard of that.
Yeah, or even shaking and generally regulating the nervous system. It acknowledges the trauma is physical and needs a physical way out.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not just in your head.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something interesting earlier, that real change happens in the moment you're triggered.
Yes, the sources stress this. It's about choosing a different reaction right then and there, rather than just hoping years of therapy will magically fix it later. That immediate redirection is key.
Okay, so that leads us to the practical techniques for, like, reprogramming in real time.
Exactly. Tools for immediate shifts.
The first one sounds very CBT-based, cognitive behavioral therapy. The mirror method.
Yes, that's right. Think of it as like an emergency response tool.
Mhm.
When you feel that old fear or trigger rising, maybe panic because someone's late or feeling invisible at work.
Mm-hmm.
First, you ground yourself. Use your senses. What do you see, hear, feel, smell right now? Get present.
Okay.
Then find a mirror. Look yourself directly in the eyes and repeat specific I am statements that counter the fear.
Like what?
Like, I am safe, I am chosen, I am worthy, I am respected. Whatever directly opposes the trigger, the goal is to interrupt that old automatic fear loop as it's happening.
So you're actively implanting the new belief while the old one is trying to take over.
Precisely. Forcing the nervous system in that moment to register a different possibility.
Okay, that's the immediate mental fix. Then there's something called energetic conditioning. Sounds more physical.
It is. This involves picking a theme song music that really embodies the feeling of the new identity you want, the successful you, the loved you, whatever it is.
A theme song, I like that.
Yeah, and you don't just listen. You play it, you dance, you move. You physically embody it while repeating your I am statements. You work yourself into that state until you feel it.
Like method acting for your self-concept.
Kind of. And they suggest doing it first thing in the morning to deliberately set that high vibration, confident tone before the day gets going. You're conditioning the feeling into your body.
Interesting. Okay, technique 3 is revision. This sounds familiar, maybe from Neville Goddard.
That's exactly it. This is about mentally rewriting past events, specifically the emotional experience of them.
How does that work?
Well, say you remember a time someone really disrespected you. and it still stings. You replay that scene in your mind, but you change the ending.
You change it.
You visualize it going the way you wished it had gone. You imagine them giving you respect or apology or whatever was missing. You rewrite the emotional outcome in your head.
Okay.
The idea is to neutralize the negative emotional charge that memory holds over you now. The sources recommend doing this before sleep. Apparently, the subconscious is more receptive then.
I have to push back a little here just for clarity. For someone dealing with significant trauma, maybe real abuse, does this revision technique risk becoming denial? How does rewriting a memory mentally square with processing what actually happened?
That's a really crucial question. And no, it's not about denying the facts of the past. It's absolutely not about saying that bad thing didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's about changing the emotional power that event has over your present self-concept. By revising it internally, you're essentially telling your subconscious mind, the emotional threat from this is over. It's resolved now.
Oh, yeah.
You're detaching the old pain that keeps you stuck in the old identity.
So it's focused purely on the emotional residue, not the historical event itself.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming your emotional sovereignty from that memory.
That distinction makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have these tools: mirror work, energetic conditioning, revision. Now, the big question: why does this stuff supposedly work? What's the bridge between my inner feeling and my outer reality? The science and the maybe more out there stuff?
Right. This is where it gets really interesting because the logical and the, let's say, quantum perspectives start to align. Logically, we start with the brain's reticular activating system, the RAS.
The RAS, okay, what does it do?
The RAS is basically your brain's filter. It's constantly sorting through the massive amount of information coming in through your senses. And crucially, it filters based on your dominant beliefs and what you're focused on.
So it prioritizes information.
Yes. If you deeply believe I am unlovable, your RAS will literally scan your environment for evidence of rejection. It'll highlight that delayed text, that critical glance.
And ignore the compliments.
Pretty much. It filters out anything that contradicts the core belief. So you end up in this loop where reality constantly seems to confirm your negative self-concept because that's all your brain is letting you notice.
Wow. So repeating new thoughts and feelings literally rewires that filter over time.
That's the idea. You make the new state habitual, and reality has to start conforming because your brain is now scanning for that.
Okay, that's the brain logic.
Yeah.
How does that connect to the more metaphysical idea that everyone is pushed out, or conscious observation creating reality?
Well, this steps into the premise that consciousness itself is fundamental. Now, we have to be careful not to butcher quantum physics.
Right. No pop quantum here.
Exactly. But the sources draw a parallel. In quantum mechanics, particles seem to exist in a state of potential superposition until observed. The act of observation collapses the possibilities into a definite reality.
Okay.
The parallel drawn is that your consciousness, informed by your self-concept, acts as that observer. Your deeply held expectation, expecting love, expecting disrespect influences which potentials manifest in your experience.
So my internal state of deserving or not deserving literally influences what clicks into place around me.
Yeah.
That's a lot of responsibility.
It is. And this energy, this expectation isn't just mental. This is where the heart comes in. The sources highlight something striking. The heart's electromagnetic field.
Oh, I think I've heard about this. It's measurable.
Yes, and apparently now, this is a specific claim from the material. It's about 5,000 times stronger electromagnetically than the field generated by the brain.
5,000 times.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's the figure they use specifically for the electromagnetic field strength. The implication is massive.
Yeah.
Your core emotional state, your heart's feeling, is broadcasting this incredibly powerful signal.
And people pick up on that subconsciously.
That's the idea. If you're feeling insecure or negative, even if you're putting on a brave face, people feel that underlying signal. Think about when you meet someone charming, but you just get a weird vibe, a feeling you can't explain.
Yeah, that happens.
That could be your intuition reading their heart's signal, the incoherence or negativity beneath the surface.
Okay, that really changes how you think about interacting with people. And does this link back to psychology?
It does, directly to mirror neurons.
Right, mirror neurons. They reflect what others are doing or feeling.
Exactly. Our brains are wired to subconsciously mirror the states of those around us. So, if your heart is broadcasting confidence and worthiness, the mirror neurons in others are more likely to reflect that back, making them feel and act more positively towards you.
And vice versa.
Yep.
If I'm broadcasting anxiety,
They might subconsciously mirror that, feeling uneasy around you, reinforcing the whole cycle. It's like your inner state gets amplified and reflected by the people you interact with.
Okay, putting this all together, the brain filter, the heart signal, mirror neurons. How do we apply this in more advanced ways or challenge those really ingrained patterns?
Well, it comes back to that trigger moment again. You have to actively challenge the automatic negative thought right then and there. So the partner's late, the thought is they're cheating. You stop, you consciously find counter evidence.
Like what?
Okay, wait, is there actual evidence? No. Usually they're late because of work traffic. They're generally reliable. You have to deliberately starve that negative assumption before it takes root.
And physically. The sources mention posture and body language too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. How you hold yourself physically sends signals both outward and inward. If your self-concept is insecure, you might physically shrink, fold your arms, try to take up less space.
Projective gestures.
Right. But consciously adopting a more confident posture, shoulders back, open stance, actually feeds back and can start to shift your internal feeling. It's a loop. Stand confident, feel more confident.
Okay. And for the really deep stuff, the childhood wounds, you mentioned deeper memory work.
Yes, beyond the simple revision technique, some therapeutic approaches involve, sometimes with a therapist, revisiting a traumatic memory, say, childhood abuse, but actively intervening within the memory visualization.
Wow.
Like imagining your adult self or the therapist stepping into that past scene to protect the child version of you, to comfort them, to change the emotional outcome within the memory.
Again, not changing the facts, but changing the stored feeling associated with it, neutralizing the trauma at its root in the self-concept.
Exactly. It's about healing that imprint. And finally, there's a mention of symbolic ritual.
Like a ceremony.
Sort of. Since making a big identity shift requires a clear break, they suggest something symbolic, like writing a formal letter to your old self, the one defined by fear or lack, saying, goodbye, your time is up, then ritually releasing it, burning it, burying it, whatever feels powerful. It's a conscious act to signify closure and the stepping into the new identity, a symbolic death and rebirth in a way.
Okay, so wrapping this all up then, the core takeaway from this deep dive seems to be that changing your self-concept is the absolute key.
It seems to be presented as the crucial variable, yes.
Yeah.
And it works through both our neurology, the RAS filtering reality, and this energetic component, the heart signal influencing others through subconscious mechanisms like mirror neurons.
It really puts the power back in your hands, suggesting you're not just a victim of circumstance or your past. These are tools, methods to actively choose and kind of build a different reality starting right now.
That's the empowering message, definitely.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to really sit with. If your heart truly emits an electromagnetic signal 5,000 times stronger than your brain's, a signal people feel before you even speak, what signal are you habitually broadcasting right now just by existing? What expectations based on your current self-concept are you actively collapsing into your reality today? Something to think about. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.